Hey, I finally read something that I have enough thoughts again to make a long form review about. Like, this has been a long time. I've been doing shorts reviews for a hell of a long time for most of the books I read. But I just finished The Convenience Store by the Sea by Sonoko Machida, and I'm gonna review it for you. This book essentially is like a collection of interconnected short stories that all center on a branch of this like high-end convenience store chain called Tenderness. It's about like the people that frequent it. Some of the stories are also about the employees of the shop as well as the families. And like there's not a lot of stories and like it's very like sweet. And yeah, I I had my problems with it, but I ended up really enjoying it. Given that this is a short story collection, like I will go and like tell you my thoughts on like all the individual stories, but I won't spoil anything. Just like know like what I told you before about like this is about the convenience store, the people that frequent it. There's some recurring characters between all the stories, and that's like all you really need to know like going into this book. And I won't tell you like any like specific plot details except for like if I like really didn't like something. And yeah, I think we should just get into it. So the book starts with a prologue, and I actually don't really like have any thoughts about that one. That's the only one where that is like from a person that we don't see again. It's also like the only thing that is in a first person perspective. But I think it does a well enough job setting up the intrigue that like people feel when they go to this convenience store. You see some characters that like aren't explained, some occurrences that aren't explained that definitely like you see from another perspective once you get further into the story. But the prologue on its own like isn't great, but I thought it was okay. Going into the first chapter, the book follows this convenience store clerk, and I think that one was pretty good. In general, it is like a lot about the manager of this convenience store, and he is described as this extremely handsome guy, which I personally couldn't stand. Like he's described as extremely charming and extremely handsome, and like everybody's obsessed with him, and he is just like this strange like allure to people. And it's almost like sometimes it's actually like described as pheromones, which I was like, I like my brain like immediately went to my paranormal romance shit, and so like I don't know if I like that, and also like I don't like characters really like being constantly described as like excessively beautiful. That just like triggers my self-consciousness about like about my body images, so I really didn't like that. But the story when the first story, so when it is not focused on the manager. And she has some ties to that, obviously. So it's like there is some to it, but like when it's not focused on that, you get something about her personal life, and I don't know. It's pretty good, I think. Like the second chapter follows this one school teacher, but he also has like a passion for manga, and so he like also frequents the store, and it's like his story. I can't really say that I connected to any of the characters in this book, but this one I also like really didn't care that much for, especially compared to the convenience store clerk who I actually liked. Also, don't ask me about names. I don't know any of them anymore. I'm so bad with names, okay? I think his story was good, but I thought it was kind of amusing how I thought it was like pretty sweet how the employees of this convenience store were so invested in these people's lives. And it is pretty cute in the story, but thinking about it, that would be so creepy in real life. Like if a person was like that invested in my life from like my local convenience store, nah. I would like call the police on them. Like, but in the context of the story, it's like pretty cute. So I guess that story was also like good. The third story follows this high school student, and I like that one. I think I really like couldn't care less about high school drama because I've had enough of that in my life. But I thought the friendship between the two high school girls was like pretty sweet, and this one story especially also like showcases one of the like extreme talents of this book, and that is food descriptions. The food descriptions in this book are amazing. They are so good. Like I love Japanese food to death. Literally, I got like this box of like Japanese like rice crackers for my birthday, and those are amazing. I'm so sad that I literally like, ate all of them already because like Oh, they're gone now. But yeah, the food descriptions in this book are great, and there's a lot of them in this book because like also I kind of didn't like the way she's kind of like I still don't know if what she actually looks like, but the book kind of like describes her as like a little chubby, but also says that it's like normal for her age. She's just not as skinny as other girls, but everyone calls her fat. So I didn't like that. But yeah, the story, I actually kind of like that story. Then the first story, that was what I like really disliked, and that has actually like not anything to do with the story like itself, but like with the main character, because that one, it follows like this old guy. He's like a Japanese salaryman who is like in retirement, and he's constantly like his woman. They moved into this apartment building because the convenience store is like under like a senior apartment building, and so this woman is like really involved in like the whole community of the apartment building, and he's so angry at her. He's like, oh my god, I've always provided for you, I've always had made a good life, I've always made enough money, I've sent our daughter to college, how the can you not stay at home for me even in retirement? How the do you dare to have a life? And I was like, girl, go die. I hated him so much. And like, yeah, all the people in the store, in all the stories, like show some growth, but I didn't actually like want to see him redeemed because I hated him so much. So yeah, didn't like that. The story itself was okay, but I like the main character was horrible. And I really found it kind of funny how the previous story with the high schoolers like acknowledged how weird it was for some of these like other like main characters from the like other stories, which are mostly like adults, to hang around these children. And then here we have this old ass guy like just hanging out with like an elementary school student, and the story was like, oh, that's cute. I was like not that there's anything creepy in this book, but the way that it acknowledges that it is societally kind of weird for all these like adults to hang out with like the high schoolers. But then there's like this grandpa who is like just casually like being the adoptive like grandfather of this elementary school child, and nobody's batting an eye. So I was like, okay. So yeah, that was, I think it's my least favorite story in the entire book, but I mean, it's the entire vibe of the book was still there. So I think I would still give that like 2.5 stars. So there's not, if you like see that like there's nothing worse than that in this book, I think you see like that the overall quality is like kind of great actually. Then we go to the fifth story. That one was okay. It follows another high schooler. He's the son of the convenience store clerk from the first story. And the story originally, I think it's kind of like set out as a love story, which I was like, oh, please not a love story. Because I like love stories, but if it's like, oh, boy meets girl, nah, give me something like inventive. And it like immediately like hits a snag and goes in another direction. That direction is eventually resolved, and then it looks like it's trying to go back to a love story, but it's actually not. So like I liked that it was like something different. And that story, I think, was like overall like pretty great. We see what a lot of the characters from the previous stories have been up to, because like there's a lot of like coming together in that story. And like again, I could care less about like the high school drama things and like the interpersonal relationships of the teenagers. And also the way that I like thought it was like originally thought it was going to be a love story, and then I also thought it was going to be a love story, but that I like literally immediately started shipping the like main guy like with like his friend, and I was I knew that this was not like feasibly going to happen, but I was still disappointed when it didn't happen, because like I was like, oh, give me some BL, like please get to it. But yeah, that story was pretty great overall. Like the last story follows the convenience store clerk from the first story again, and that one has like a larger focus on the manager guy and also like his familial relationships. And like I don't like the manager guy, but so that one was obviously like not my favorite, but it also like tries to rationalize the obsession people have with this guy a little bit. So I kind of thought it redeemed it a little, but still the manager's not my favorite character. Again, don't give me excessive like descriptions of UBD. I don't see it. And then we get into the epilogue. That one is from the perspective of the manager. And yeah, it didn't add a lot to the book. Like it's literally like four pages or something. It's the shortest anything in the book really is. But I think it was like a good close off for the book. And yeah, Yeah, overall, I really, really liked this. I think it was cute. It was, if you don't like overly sweet things, don't pick this up. But it's generally just a really nice read. That's all I can say about it. And yeah, I had my issues, but I am gonna give this 4 stars because it was just nice. That's like, if you have, if there was ever a word to describe a book with, this was the book, and the word was nice. So yeah. Also, there is, if I like convinced you with this, there is a sequel coming out this summer, and the author has previously done a bunch of like prize-winning work in Japan that I think at least one of her other works is like now translated and it comes out next year. So I am definitely going to read more from Sonoko Machida. I think I'm actually going to pick up the sequel because I really like this. Again, 4 stars. If you enjoyed this review, if you didn't enjoy this review, like anything, tell me. Tell me what you read right now. Tell me if you like this book. Tell me your thoughts on this book if you read it. And yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe, anything. I always appreciate anything you do with my videos. And I hope to see you again in another video. Bye.